Hi, in this video we'll use Microsoft SQL Server and simulate a real-time data. The reason why we are doing is that normally when we're learning Power BI, it is difficult for us to get access to real-time dataset, right? So what we could do is we'll try to write a small SQL script in SQL Server Management Studio, and then we will try to load the data into a table. And also subsequently we'll try to use Power BI page refresh, auto refresh option, and then so that the data will be loaded every second or so. So that way we have kind of a simulated real-time data set, right? So that we can create a dashboard in Power BI, and then whenever the data changes in the SQL Server, the dashboard also changes. So that whenever somebody is looking at the dashboard, it looks as though it is being kind of updated every second in a real time. So we'll be using my own dataset, which is a Fitbit dataset, and it has 7 columns. As you can see, we'll use the min and max dates in our SQL script. And let us try to open the SQL Server Management Studio. And first, we will create a database and name it as Fitbit appropriately. And then once we do that, we have a Fitbit database. You can refresh it here and do it. And next step is we will try to import the flat file, which is a CSV file. I will leave the link in the description box below. And once we do that, we kind of, this is a simple process. You specify the input file and then look at the schema, and then kind of change the elevation data type to float. That way we have the data. And once we do that, we have our flat file table in our database. You can refresh it and see here we have that Fitbit dataset as a table in our SQL Server. Once we do that, we will try to look at the top 1000 rows and see that the data is there in our SQL Server. We're happy so far. So far so good. The next step is we'll try to create a small SQL Server script, and we will first use the Fitbit dataset so that this particular database is used. And I've just wrote down the couple of lines so that I can pause the video and look at the script. And first is we will try to use this statement, select statement, and select star into my steps data, so that a new table will be created, my steps data. But the condition is where 1 equal to 2. 1 equal to 2 means always it evaluates to false. So that way we have the structure but not the rows. The row values are not being loaded into a table. That is exactly what we want. Once we do that, and next is we'll try to create a small loop, and we'll first declare a variable, and we'll use as data type and date, and we'll try to use, we know minimum data is date in the data set is 1213, so we'll use a 12 and the max date we know that it's 12/16/2023, and we will try to create a delay of 1 second, and we will load the data every second. So that way we have the data loading into the table, my steps data. And once we have that and execute this particular step, you can see, and you can make sure that to test this particular script. And once we execute, so far I think it's working, absolutely no worries. And once we do that, then we can kind of comment that line out and execute it again. The data is being loaded here. And in Power BI Desktop, we have various options. We can directly click SQL Server there, or you can select SQL Server here to make the connection, or maybe use the get data SQL Server database and use your credentials. And the data connectivity mode will be direct query. We want to use that direct query option. And if you have a database named as say my steps data, you can do that. But in our case, our database is Fitbit. The table is my steps data. It depends upon your dataset. So in our case, this is the table. We will select the table. We don't have to do any transformations because the data is clean. And let us try to load it directly into Power BI. One thing is when the data is in this mode, direct query mode, you cannot see the data. right? In a table view, that option is not available. And we also know the logic that we want to load this particular data every second, as highlighted on the screen. So we'll just try to use that. And once we do that, we have that data coming in from the SQL Server. The next step logically is that you go to a new page and use the page refresh option, and instead of the default, change the auto refresh to make it as 1 second. So that your data is coming in every second into the table in SQL Server. And also in your dashboard, if you create any visuals, those that page is also refreshed every second. So this way we are kind of simulating real-time data, right? So that is the ultimate option. Intention of ours is to create a real-time data set, right? So that way we have that available for us. And the next is we will try to create a measures table. So I would like all the measures to be in a separate table. You have these options. Either you can do create a new table or enter data, change that into measures table. So that way we have the measures table. And we'll also use a DAX query view to kind of create a few measures. So instead of doing it one by one, I thought I'll go to DAX query view and kind of create those measures. As you can see, you have your structure here, and probably there is some data too. Like I said, we'll use the DAX query view. I have created certain measures, very simple measures. So as you can see, we are trying to get the daily target calories, daily target steps, because we want to use some visuals on our dashboard page. So I'm kind of using it. And if needed, I'll try to create certain tables. In this case, looks like I need to create a calendar table. And if you haven't done, probably look at my previous videos where how to create a calendar table. So once we do that, we have a calendar table also. It's pretty easy to define a measure here, like shown on the screen. So you can define a measure in DAX query itself. So we have all these measures up there. I think when I'm calculating the cumulative steps, I think I might need a calendar table. So since the calendar table is not yet created, it's a very simple process. I'll just quickly go ahead and create that calendar table. And also I'll make sure that in the model view, the relationship is established between this and my fact table. Once I have that, I can update my measures into the data model. So it's a very simple thing. I'm just trying to make sure that the calendar table is named appropriately here. So I'll go ahead and fix that. That is being fixed. And in the DAX query view, we have defined the measures, but we have not updated model with the changes. So there are various, I think I've created 11 measures. So I'll just go step by step. I will update that into the model. As you can see on the measures table, we have those measures. So we don't need the column here. We'll delete that. And we have all those measures up here. So, and I have quickly gone ahead and created a dashboard page, which has all those visuals. So it's very simple. Based on your needs, you can create your own visuals. So to demonstrate that we could use this as a real-time data set. So that is what we have done. And you can see all those visuals up there. And I think so far so good. It looks good, and all those visuals are changing because the data is coming from the SQL Server every second, and also auto page refresh is also there. So that is kind of giving you an impression that it is a real-time data. So this is one way of creating a real-time data. It's a very quick fix so that we can load any kind of data we have. If you don't have a date, you can also use index column and Power Query. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.